And by the way, just to make a comment on what Steve was saying, what he told you, I want you to appreciate, is exactly, word by word, what he's telling me. We're having this conversation, and we hear a lot of people saying we should be on TV, and but yes, the profitability of the company is the most important advertising we could make. So there are tough decisions to make. We'll end up making what we think is the best decision. We obviously hope, love to hear from you and our customers. But the conversation is exactly the conversation that takes place in an office. And again, I hope you appreciate the openness of this. So I said that we know what we have to do now. And of course what we have to do now vis-a-vis you is ship the goods. And we're making progress shipping the goods, and I'll get back to that. But I have to say, even more importantly, we have to focus on our customers now. Our customers don't buy your Rhapsody application yet, right? The customers don't buy Rhapsody yet. There are three things. Gil touched on this in his opening keynote, but I want you just to make sure that you realize what we're focusing on first and why there are other things that have to take second priority. First, we have to get back to a sustainable profitability. This is not only, of course, an obligation for a public company. This is not just a shareholder objective. This is the primary way to restore the credibility of the company in our customer base. They see a huge cloud on Apple. We have taken steps to take that cloud away, and we believe it's the primary reason of their concern, and we understand that when they are concerned, we're in trouble. We have to pump up the volume. Pump up the volume means two things: ship more Macintoshes and communicate in a crisper way. I think we started doing something like that. The 8-page Wall Street Journal ad that Steve doesn't like was actually very successful. And we run those kind of ads in more places in this country than we ever run print advertising in the history of the company. We run in publications that had never seen media purchasing from us. We're trying to be pervasive. I do believe that print is very important. I do believe that focusing on our products is very important. We have great products to talk about, as opposed to the fuzzy characteristic of the Apple brand. Who cares about that? We have great products that will build the Apple brand, and that's what we're going to focus on in communicating. In the coming months, actually, starting today, you will see a presence in trade publications across the board, PC, Mac, and vertical industry magazines, that has been the highest print presence on product advertising from Apple in a very, very long time. Well, you see, it's not only being there that is important. Of course, many people say that 80% of the thing is showing up. I do believe that you have to show up with the right message, and I think we're getting somewhat better there. I hear the same complaints about our advertising agency from lots of you that we've shared with Steve. I don't think the primary problem of the company is the advertising agency, frankly. We have to have crisp messages and communicate them properly and consistently. That's what we need to do. The agency is a secondary concern. Third, and very important, again, we know that we have to ship hot boxes. I mean, hot in the good sense, okay? We tried with the hot boxes a couple of years ago. It didn't particularly work. I don't know what you think, but I think that we have the best product lineup in a very, very long time. I think that entry-level, mid-range, high-end portables, I believe that we can be proud of telling the world what are the formats and in which expression the Macintosh has come today. I think we've not been in the position to do so for a long time. Our salespeople are very pleased with that, and our customers are noticing. And I hope that you share that. It's taken a long time to clean up the product line. We are by no means done. There is a lot of work that John Rubinstein is doing on cleaning up the product line. He shared with you where we're going. But I can tell you that starting today, starting the beginning of the first few months of 1997, we have hot products to sell. It feels better. So these are our first order priorities. Now, the fundamental of this, of what you see in this slide, is that our primary focus in everything we do is our existing customers, the people that love, use, rely on, and want a Macintosh. And by no means you have to see this as kind of a retrenching strategy. You have to see this as the most offensive market share strategy we could have. For a long time, we've been more worried about the people that did not buy the Mac than the people that did. For a long time, we were more worried to correct the reasons why people were not buying Macintoshes than to improve the reasons why they did. This is a fundamental shift in our engineering, in our marketing operations, and I want you to know that. By making our customers happier and more excited, we will get more customers than by trying to fix what the majority of the market doesn't like about the Mac. Okay, so I believe we laid out a very strong strategy. Time to sort of get feedback. And so we went and bought a few newspapers, local. We've seen the first good articles, and then some of the newspapers, and most of the reason why they were good is because you were saying good things, which it's a telling story. This is one of you quoted by the San Jose Mercury News. I think it was on Wednesday. The yellow box triples the productivity of developers. Long term, it means a bigger market for Apple. Agreed. Productivity is very important. In fact, developer productivity is the underlying strongest technical proposition that I believe the yellow box brings. It's good to see this quoted on the Merc. The Merc has not always been very friendly to us. I know that we have some journalists for the Merc here. I welcome them here, and I hope you hear that our developers are with us, and that this company will be back. Well, we've impressed a few of you with technology. I mean, I was impressed personally. I was in some of the technical sessions of OpenStep, and frankly, I understood 5% of what I heard. Well, that's already a lot, I can tell you. But that wasn't the intent. The intent was to show you things and to make you appreciate the depth of what we have here, as opposed to the slides. We had some sort of interesting, challenging quotes as well. I think this is a respectable quote. Many of you just don't give a damn about Apple, the company. Why would you? You like the Mac. And this quote was encouraging because I think that we were responding to the class of concerns that this developer is expressing. And I believe that's a very good sign that this developer said what he said. Okay. In addition to what your feedback has been to the press, I've also heard a number of questions in the hallway. We polled some of you informally. As you know, there is some more formal feedback, and make sure that you fill every form that David Graffel and company are asking you to fill, because that's the way we shape our communication and our policies with you, by listening to what you suggest. But informally we've polled, and many of you may have seen people with tape recorders and going around and asking. What I personally wanted to do is try to address, as soon as possible and as early as possible, any big question that was coming up. So, yes, there was a question about, you're telling a very good story here, but hey, we've heard good stories before, right? Can you execute and deliver? The question on credibility. Well, you remember, you've seen this slide in the beginning of the Rhapsody track. I think Bernard Serlet was presenting this, the slide about what happened from February 4th when the teams were merged up until May 2nd when the first application on PowerPC was running, first yellow box application on PowerPC was running. Between then and now, I can tell you, other things are happening. On May 13th, which is the day before yesterday, or 3 days ago, We had the full workspace and desktop working on PowerPC. Let me show it to you. Hey. So believe it or not, this is, look at how the window's fast. I mean, I don't know if that means anything to you, but it does to me, It's real code. I mean, I have been told to be careful. And I will. Look, let me try something here. I've been told to click specific points here. Not true. The thing is actually pretty good. QuickTime is up and running in the yellow box. I think these are major progress, and we'll continue to keep this pace. Well, of course, we know that this is just the beginning, but you have to expect us going at this pace. The code that we are bringing together is solid, and the people that are developing it are great. I think there's a lot of upside coming up. Now, some of you have attended A2 Labs to test your applications on the Blue Box, okay? And there was a big paper wall, and lots of you, actually more than 300 of you, wrote something on the wall, and I selected a few of your quotes. For those of you that haven't been there, I don't know if it's still open. It's still open? Please go. It's just fun to watch, by the way. 430 applications, or more than 430 applications were tested on the Blue Box. I can tell you that only 4 had a problem. I am told that one of the 4 is an application called Missile. I don't have it here. Missile Command, yes, Missile Command. It's a 1984 application, so kind of testy. But I'm told by the engineers that the problem, the reason why the application doesn't work, will be fixed. So this is some of the quotes. That's funny. Blue runs 7.6 faster and smoother than 7.6 runs 7.6. This is actually real. From a quote from a fellow from the University of Pittsburgh. We move on. Visual Cafe, thumbs up on the Blue Box. This technology kicks butt. Visual Cafe, Symantec works pretty well. Our friends from Microsoft, the Internet Explorer surfs the web in a Blue Box. That's great. Internet Explorer works on the Blue Box, and the Microsoft folks are doing a great job on the Mac, I have to say. Studio Pro 2.0 rocks the Blue Box. So these are just some of those. You should go and enjoy and see what's going on there. I think it's phenomenal, the degree of compatibility that is achieved, and hopefully the level of performance that comes from this compatibility. So that's, I think, good news. So talking about information and communication, as I told you before, I've heard in the past that we've been pretty quiet. I told you why. We wanted to make sure that before we started talking, we knew what we were talking about. Well, what a concept. At this point, I think we do, and you should expect more regular communication. I am told that in a couple of weeks we'll post on devworld.apple.com a fact with all the frequently asked questions that Bean has during the conference, and we will keep updating that as fast as we can. By the way, I remind you to register for the seeding program on devworld.apple.com so that you can receive all the updates, the Tempo GM candidate, as well as the Rhapsody developer release. So the intent here is not to create a black hole. Make sure that what you ask is answered, and the developer relations folks that work for you are committed to that. An interesting question, by the way, an additional point to mention is that there's been a lot here, actually. We counted more than 2,000 of you registered, as well as a lot of Apple employees coming in. But there were more than that following our webcast. Were 4,500 people tuned in the keynotes on the webcast, and there, after that, because we offer video on demand, 3,500 people were watching repeats of the sessions. And if you are interested, I'll encourage you to go back to some of the sessions that you may have missed, and use the video on demand here at this internet address. We talked about the licensing fees for deploying Yellowbox runtimes on Windows and other platforms. And we said, actually Avi said, this is free for developers. And I've heard, really, where's the catch? You know, there is no catch. Yes, they are. And we will make sure that you receive a free license to deploy the runtime of the Yellowbox for your application when you want to run them, because your customers want to run them on Windows. So somebody says, well, how do you make money? We don't make money with APIs. We don't make money with nickeling and diming anymore. We make money selling the best players for your application. Again, we're a systems company. We do Macintosh. Yes. There is a question here. When is this effective? I believe it is going to be effective as soon as we declare the Yellowbox Golden Master, which is probably going to be around the Premiere release. Another question. Many of you said, geez, we've heard that Rhapsody developer release is only going to ship on 8500 and 8600 is going to work on these machines that spent a lot of money on 9500, some of you on 9600. What can I do? Well, you realize why we're trying to limit the number of models on which the developer release works. But the intent is to make Rhapsody work on every possible Mac, but we have to make sure that we get there in time, and so we have to limit the test base. But we've heard this. This was very strongly expressed by many of you. Watch the Dev World. We may have an answer in a couple of weeks. The engineers know that this is a big request, and I'm confident that we will have more Macintoshes supported by the developer release without imposing on the schedule. Now, these are the questions for which there was a reasonable answer. I'm not saying a good one, reasonable. There are some questions for which there is I don't have a strong answer. I've heard this one, for example. And I can only say that we're going to have Mountain Dew back at the next developers conference. I promise. I promise. I'm being videotaped. Okay. So I think that now it's time for many of you, to decide about your plans. A traditional way of looking at this is the chicken and the egg. How do you build applications for a platform that has no share? If the platform has no share, there's no application. So it's kind of, in fact, there's no application, there is no share. Well, I think that you know better than that. I think in reality this is not at all the way that the business opportunity has to be assessed. For example, Macintosh developers, that the growth of the markets in which Macintosh is strong is more important than the totality of the macOS market share. And we happen to be strong in markets that grow fast, the Internet, the entire authoring market, multimedia, publishing, etc. I hope you know, that it's far less expensive to market your Mac products than it is to market your Windows products. No matter how expensive you think it is, well, it is much more expensive on the other side of the fence. You have now heard that instead of offering you a fragmented OS proposition in which we sort of force you to choose between A and B, we are creating bridges between macOS and Rhapsody that enable the choice you make to migrate across both of the platforms. We will support Yellowbox on macOS, and as you know, Rhapsody has a toolbox compatibility for macOS applications. So I think you have safety built in. You've also heard, and some of you commented very, very appropriately, that we're bringing some economies of development in the development process that are unprecedented. Triple, 5 times, 10 times, I don't know the number, but what I hear about using the Yellowbox is phenomenal developer productivity, and this is going to be a strong weapon for you as you compete in the marketplace. And, very importantly, you're not starting to build for a platform that has no share. You can target your Yellowbox application across the entirety of the market. And that's another solid way to look at what you should be doing. So, as I say, it's time for you to make your plans. Another important thing that I want you to know is that we're giving you several choices to develop. You have to be reassured and certain that whatever the choice you make to continue to develop for the Mac, macOS, Yellowbox, any other angle, you'll have our attention you'll have our support, and you have our encouragement. There is no second-class citizen here. You're all Mac developers that choose to deploy and invent and create their application in any way we support and we stand behind. Guy Kawasaki will have his usual hot application keynote at Macworld Boston, and he told me that he expects the hottest prototype yellow box application from you there so that he could show them on stage. So this is a challenge for you. Talk to Guy. Think about it. 7 weeks ago, we had a major restructuring. 7 weeks later, we articulated a compelling strategy, I strongly believe. We showed a lot of code working, which is as, if not more important. And I believe we had a successful WWDC. I think it's only obvious for me to thank all the Apple employees that made this happen. And I would like a big round of applause from everyone to them. I also want to do something here. It's maybe a little bit complicated, but I would like to call on stage the people that are closer to you, the people whose only objective at Apple is to make sure that you're successful. The Apple Developer Relations team. Not everybody's here, but those that are here that are not in the office or answering the phone or just working, please come up so that you have an opportunity to see the faces and the legs and the bodies of the people that usually are behind emails and websites and publications and other electronic form of communication. This is the only thing they do is make sure that you're successful. Their performance, their commitment, their passion will determine in large part our success and yours. So as a special recognition, I would like to thank and wish well to the Apple Developers Relations team that put together a beautiful developer conference. Okay, thanks, folks. Hey. Mr. Kraftwolf, the fearless leader of the team, has something that he wants to say at this
I have a couple of special thank yous, actually, for the people who managed the separate tracks during this conference, and I just wanted to call them out by name, and if you could wave or step forward or something. So for the Rhapsody track, Ken Bereskin.
Yay.
Yay. For the Mac OS track, Gordon Garb.
Gordon. Yay, Gordon. Forgot to say, everybody that tested this application on Temple works. Is that correct? That's correct.
All right. Okay. For the Internet and Enterprise, Sean Pruden and Garrett Rice. For hardware, Richard Schlein. And for the overall technical content, oh, I skipped one. Wait a minute. Back up. Interactive Media, Tony Tomasi.
Where's Tony?
There's Tony. And overall technical content, there we go, Doug Bloomquist. Very good. And last but by no means least, the overall event manager, Steve Taglio.
Where's Steve? Where's Steve? He's managing the event.
And we're making him work through this session, clearly.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're almost done. I think there's something else we have to do. Some of you remember that there is a drawing coming up.
That's true.
And Mr. Kraftwolf will introduce this to you, and we're going to do it now.
That's very true. So actually, first I think we need to do a little video. So if we can roll the video.
Yeah,
please.
we'll do that.
Life is kept exciting by the discoveries that emerge. They keep us looking forward, reaching for new ideas and innovations. Apple's 20th anniversary Macintosh, a design for the future.
And we're going to give away 2 of them right now.
Yay.
Okay, and hopefully it'll be somebody in this audience. The California rules tell us that it might
Could be
not
anybody.
be. So, but all of you who stopped by the labs and dropped off a little piece of paper that you filled out or left your business card are right now in this big drum.
Now,
I've always wanted to do this.
we won't give you the product right now because in a typical tradition of Apple marketing, we introduce it, but we don't have it yet. But as you know, it ships in July. It's a special product. Is that July? The date?
I believe so. And I have to say also that if we pick one and it's an Apple employee, I'm sorry, but you don't get it. So here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, you ready?
Should I do it? Yeah.
All right, let's stop this one right here.
One thing. They pick one thing.
One thing. Only one this time.
Too long. It's a letter.
We're going to have to turn this again.
Okay, this says Larry Ellison. Just kidding. Colin Holgate. Is Colin here?
Colin here?
Colin.
All right.
Yay. Come on.
That's for you. Congratulations. And thanks for joining us.
Voyager. Congratulations.
Okay, we're going to do this again.
Do it again.
There needs to be a card this time. I think we need to do one of each, right?
Okay. This is Mike Scalora from Corel. Is he here?
Is Mike here?
Coming!
Yes. All right.
Yay!
One of those for you.
Will it run more perfect? Of course it will.
Oh, yeah. Thanks very much.
Thank you. You make sure. Okay. I want to thank you very much for your attention. Wish you the best for the rest of the conference, and most importantly, a safe trip back home and great success with your Mac development. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the breakout in the other rooms will begin.